Welcome to Trashy Stupid Fun. I don't know what episode this is. But, anyways, I'm kind of building up to Manos, the Riff Tracks live event, which I'm going to be an audience member. And because episode 50 is what I want to do for that, is talk about Manos, the Hands of Fate. Because, it's a biggie that I want to talk about. So I think that's the perfect episode, perfect movie to do for episode 50. So yeah, that's just coming events. That's in a few weeks, actually, in August. August's Thursday. Let me go look at my calendar. I don't think you can see me over there, but anyways. Yeah, the 16th. That's 16th, it's Thursday. Anyways, yeah, I'll be watching that, and I think, either Friday or that weekend, I'll find some time to talk about it. Because I really want to do an episode about that movie. Ow. I can't wait to see it on the big screen. And see what the new riffs that they do. Oh yeah, the two movies I want to talk about, I have two really different movies to talk about. One's really, really dark, and one's, slasher fun. That's what I like to call it. First movie, I wasn't going to do this because it was just a really hard one to talk about. And I'm going to talk about it anyways, because it's a cult film, and it's really disturbing, but it was disturbing stuff aside. I enjoyed it for what it was, and little warning. There's gonna be language, not a lot of cussing, but there's gonna be language. I'll just say that much. Hopefully, the sound won't do anything. The first film I want to talk about. I'm gonna just get the biggie out of the way first. The big one I want to talk about is "I Spit on Your Grave." And it's about a writer, who comes to live in the country in the summertime to write her book, or whatever it is. I think it's a book. I think she's writing a novel. And, she finds the locals to be, nice, but maybe a little too nice. And, long story short, not to, drag this out, but, slowly but surely, these guys kind of gang up on her. And, they scare her a little bit at first, and then they finally, hijack her while she's in her boat, and, take her to, a place in the forest, and they basically, what plays out in the next 20 or so minutes is a big gang rape scene, and I've seen rape scenes in movies before, but, not a gang rape, but not something that this long and this hard to watch. I was squirming in my seat watching this. I was watching this on the computer, and sometimes I just had to keep pausing and go, okay, this is almost over, right? They're almost done, right? After they're done in the forest, she runs away. I'm glossing over a lot of this because it's way too much to talk about. Because the way they filmed it was just really in your face, and you got to applaud the actress. That was just a really tough role to take on. I don't know. It's kind of brave for the men to take on that kind of role. Because, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if brave is the word either, though. It takes a lot of guts to take on either role, really. Cause it's just a lot of uncomfortableness on both sides, I'm sure. I'm just getting kind of gross out just thinking about it. It's just, And after she leaves, they find her again at her house, and they take her at her house, and I think I'm skipping over some parts, but I just want to get to the revenge part of the story, because at that point it's like, God, these guys are awful. Because they're really awful. They leave her for dead, and they get one of the guys to go back and kill her. And I'm kind of forgetting to talk about the guys. I don't really need to talk about them. They're gross. And what happens to them, they kind of they really deserve it, because they're disgusting, and what they did to her was just awful. But anyways, they get one of the guys to go back and kill her, but he's kind of a simpleton dude, and, he doesn't want to kill her. So he just, he puts some of her blood, because she was beat up really bad. And, that's why I didn't want to talk about this movie, because I don't like violence against women, and, I feel like her the violence she takes out on them is really justified because it's so gross. I just, oh, I mean, I'm visibly disgusted by this movie, or at least that part of the movie. I liked everything else because I don't know. These kinds of movies, I like the revenge part the most because it's just kind of satisfying in a way. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Um, I don't know. I feel maybe just mildly weird saying that as a guy, but it's just what these guys do is really disgusting. And anyways, he goes and shows his friends that oh look, I killed her. But then after a while, after time goes on, a few weeks go by or something, they're like, we don't smell anything because after a while you think her body would start to stink or something. That's what they think. And again, gross. But and that's the thing. And then they eventually find out she's still alive. And then slowly but surely, she lures them in and kills them in really graphic ways. In really kind of mildly creative and kind of just really disturbing ways. She lures the first guy in, who is the simpleton guy who was sent to kill her. She brings him to her house by, asking to get groceries because he was a delivery boy. And again, kind of, whatever. Anyways, so he comes and he sees her. She's out in the back naked or something, I think. Or I think she was wrapped up in something, and she was like, oh, I want you so bad or whatever. She tries to lure her in with sex. And, that's as disturbing as the first part of the movie is. I kind of like that she does that, that her allure kind of brought them in anyways, even though it's really gross what they did. But, I mean, it's just, ugh. The guys like that with twisted minds like that, just, I don't get it. But, it's like, she just kind of uses it to, to turn on them, and I kind of like that. And the first guy, I'm gonna spoil the whole movie. Again, it's just warning, I'm gonna spoil the whole movie. Get a little graphic here, but, first guy, the simpleton guy, who's kind of, yeah, I don't want to get too into his storyline, but, and what his involvement was, but he could have helped her anytime. So, I mean, it's just gross. But, he's just his fault as the other guys. Because, I mean, he's at fault anyways, because he did rape her and everything. But, again, I don't, getting ahead of myself. Anyways, she lures them into sex, and they go at it for a while. And then she ties a noose around his neck and ties him up from a tree and hangs him to death. And, yeah. And again, I'm not going to get too graphic with some of the things that happens. But, yeah. I'll just say something happens as she hung him. Yeah. Anyways, if I'm going to worry about what language well, I'm not going to go into that. But, if I'm going to get into language, I should just say what happened. But I don't want to get into that. Use your imagination. And then the next guy, she finds out the ringleader, basically, of this whole gang rape thing. She finds out that he's married, and he has kids and stuff, and so, she's like, huh, and I don't think she uses that to get him to come out, but, she finds him, or he comes to her, and just long story short, I just want to get to the kill parts, because, like, I forget what happens, but, she's like, oh, well, it's like, oh, I know you didn't mean to be mean to me, or whatever, and she's like, oh, whatever. It's like, oh, maybe we should do this again, maybe, she's like, oh, it was really nice, and I want to do it again, so she lures him back to her place, and they have sex, and they have a bath together. Yeah. And then that's when, I'm just going to go right for the kill, like, it's like, I shouldn't be laughing about this, because this is awful, but, I mean, this guy deserved it, so I'm just going to, I don't know. I shouldn't be so glib about this. I'm not a violent person. I just root for, this kind of crap in movies. I almost said I think I could say that, but anyways. It's a movie. It's just a movie, and I feel like I can root for stuff like this, because I wouldn't normally root for that kind of thing in real life, and I'm not a violent person. I just like a lot of violence in my movies, as you've noticed. Anyways, after a while, she gets comfortable with him, and then, she makes him comfortable with her, and, all of a sudden she's getting in there, trying to, I don't know if she was trying to pleasure him or something, But eventually, she's like she cut his, I'm just gonna go there. She cut his dick off or his balls or something. She castrated him, and he's just bleeding out. And she gets up and leaving him screaming in the bathtub, bleeding out. And again, I'm spoiling the whole movie. I don't really care. It's just like I just want to talk about the parts I actually liked about this movie, and I really, I don't know. I don't know what that says about me. I just, oh, guys like that just, that's not cool. That's all I'm saying. And anyways, yeah. Basically she castrated him and left him for dead. And when that's done, there's two other guys after that she goes after, and that all happens on the lake or whatever by her house. They find out that that their friends are gone or whatever, and they go after her or whatever. On the poster it says 5 guys instead of 4, so I don't know if there was a 5th guy. There was just 4, as far as I remember. But anyway, so the last 2, I'm just gonna skip right to their deaths. One gets it with a propeller to the head, I think, and the other one gets like something thrown at him, I think. He gets stabbed with something. I can't remember. But anyways, they all get theirs in the end, and she swims off into the horizon in the boat. That's basically. I didn't know how to talk about this movie without getting graphic and without talking about the really hard stuff to talk about in this movie. I almost didn't want to talk. I almost wanted to skip over talking about this movie, but it's there, and I don't know what kind of notes I'm going to get on this because this is a very intense movie to talk about. I should maybe look at other videos of people who are talking about this movie because I don't know. But yeah, and again, I'm not a violent person. I'm not. I don't know. I like the revenge part of these movies because it's just twisted. But I like it for that. I like that it's twisted because I like to Kill Bill for that reason. That was a twisted, revenge movie. It's in the rape revenge genre or on Wikipedia. But I mean, she wasn't raped. She was just killed. Or she was shot and beat the heck up. Left for dead. But so it's in that same kind of vein, I guess. But anyways, yeah. Next up is like I said, slasher film that I watched a few weeks ago. Actually, I've been meaning to do an episode. I just lazy, lazy or just not sure what to talk about. But anyways, this next movie is Sorority House Massacre, and the basic plot is this girl is moving back moving back to school or something after the death of her aunt, and blah 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 blah. Anyways, she starts having visions of this guy who's a killer, and he's in a mental institution right now. And eventually he breaks out, and he stalks all her friends and everything. Basically, that's the basic premise. And I don't know, I don't know what to say about this movie, but it was just a fun little slasher film, basically. I don't know. I find slasher films fun. I don't really find them scary, even though they're mildly scary because they're kind of, they're not exactly like they could seriously happen the way they happened in the movie, but they're plausible. It's kind of like the Scream movies. It's like they could happen, but not like they do in the movies. But they could, it's on that level where it could happen, kind of thing. And just basically, I don't know what to say about this movie. It's just that it was just nothing really new to the genre, basically, because it's just, haunted sorority house. It's been done a few times now, but I liked it for what it was. It's from the same people who did the Slumber Party Massacre movies. Instead of saying cheap look to it, yeah, it's very 80s and very. I liked it for what it was. That's basically what there is to say about that movie. I could give away the ending and whatever. It's just a slasher film, just a basic slasher film. And I just haven't been watching that many other cult films lately that don't fall under horror. I like talking about the horror ones. Like maybe I should rename my show or something. Would you guys still find me? Well, if you're still following me under my main name, you would still find this show, basically. But I'm just wondering if I shouldn't just focus on horror movies that I find. But now, I like talking about other random stuff. Not all cult films are horror, or, or gore films. But yeah. That was basically it. Those are the two movies I watched that I wanted to talk about in here. I could really talk about more. I don't know if you guys would even care if I did because I'm really tempted to do a Buster Keaton episode. Even though he's not really cult films or anything. I just really want to talk about his films, because I've watched a ton recently. Mostly his shorts. Mostly his short silent films. But, I don't know, I liked them, and, I don't know. He's not really the kind of thing I'd want to talk about on here, but I almost want to do a separate show where I talk about older movies, or even, silent movies. So I've been watching quite a few silent movies this year. Most of them Buster Keaton, but, I also saw The Artist, and last year I watched a couple Gloria Swanson movies I really liked, which one of them I talked about on here, Queen Kelly, which is an interesting movie. Anyways, I'm babbling. So, until next time.